first up, I'd like to formally welcome the Honourable Ed Husic, who's arrived, and please put your hands together. I'll be doing a more formal introduction to Ed later on, which is good. So, what I'd like to do is to just give you a bit more background on the Consensus Awards. We devised this back in 1999 and we tweak it every year. We get feedback from the people that participate in the awards, from the judges and other interested parties. The most important thing is it's very rigorous, it's very robust. We have checks and balances in place as well. And I think around the room there's at least 3, if not 4, of our chairs of the panels that have judged. And I know that in the room there's at least probably 2 or 3 of you that have judged for 10, 11 or 12 or even 13 years or more. So a great thank you to all the judges in the room, and please put your hands together for them. So how do we do it? Through a lot of networking, as you can see there on the left, in channels, in the associations. Some of our judges identify, obviously, potential entrants as well. The whole body is down through that funnel. We obviously looked for the initial evaluation to determine the finalists. But that's quite important because there are many small organisations, startups, etc., that are not ready to go through the robust process of the Consensus Awards. We are looking at technology that has to be demonstrated. So it's not an idea. Also, the organisation needs to know what its potential is worldwide, and we also look at what we call performance, i.e. what's its design, its architecture, its scalability, go-to-market strategy, etc. So it's a very robust process. We've been unbelievably successful. This is why we say we are the most successful awards program worldwide. We have 2 gentlemen here tonight from, you can see the top right hand side there, SP Jain School of Global Management. Where's Srinivas? Put your hand up, and the colleague over there. Thank you very much for being here. We engaged 8 of their MBA students and to look at all of the winners of the awards since we started. The first awards were presented in March 2000. They looked at every single one. This is unbelievable. 89%, 9 out of 10, have actually been successful worldwide. Where are they and where are they now? Okay, 94% of the winners are in the B2B model space. Most importantly, of course, only 11% are closed or liquidated. Even year 1, and I have the picture up there of when Richard Alston, as Minister for ICT at the time, was in the awards, March 2000. There were 5 winners. 4 of those technologies, this is back in 2000, 4 of those technologies are still around today. It speaks for itself. I'd like to do a comparison here. I think most people, particularly those that obviously have a look and invested interest in the venture capital market, if you look at the left-hand side of the screen there, this is a typical venture capital portfolio. You make 10 investments and you probably write off 3, 4 or 5 of them because they're just not going to perform. Some of them might make reasonable bit of money, but you're actually looking for 1 or 2 that does more than a 10 times return. That is your typical VC portfolio. What the students also did, not only just identify why they've been successful, but how successful they've been. And the graph on the right indicates how successful. This is huge. This should be written up. This has never been done before worldwide. So 9 out of 10, one of them has obviously dropped off the list, but the value of the companies that they looked at is now more than 12 billion. You'll obviously know Atlassian. Well, we identified Atlassian when they had 2 customers. And I think there were about 3 judges in the room that were involved. I know Bert was, and I think Chris was over there. You know, we actually identified them the great potential for their new product, and they had 2 customers. And Edward and I went and presented the award at that little office behind the QVB building. Yeah? And they had a whiteboard with a map, and they had 2 dots on it. These are our first 2 customers, but at the top it said, this is our world denomination map. Yeah, they were thinking this way back, but they had 2 customers when the judges identified it as being number 1, great innovation, great worldwide potential, and yes, they deserve an award. There's one better than that, probably about 3 or 4 times as big. That's a company that's now part of Tata Consulting Services, TCS. North Sydney-based company called Financial Network Services. They built a product called Banks, BANCS. It's a 2nd-tier core banking product. A lot of the companies that win awards leverage off it better than others. You know, they milked it. FNS really milked it. And they quickly grew over a period of about 5 years, I think it was, to about a $30 million company. TCS approached them and bought them out for $300 million. The value to TCS today of that technology is 40% of TCS's worldwide revenue. It's a value in excess of $6 billion. Just this one technology. Product and services associated with actually selling the bank's technology and implementing the bank's technology. And there are many others. Yeah, the list goes on. Because we've been so successful, let's take this model worldwide. This is current. This isn't a vision, this is actually happening this year. I already have a gentleman by the name of James Burnell. He's ex-Adelaide. He was over here for the judging of the awards last week because he needs to understand the whole process. He's setting up the judging panel over there for us. He lives just south of Stockholm in Sweden. So he's going to be setting up both the Scandinavian awards and the UK awards to address those countries. In the room, of course, we also have Luca. There's Luca. Thank you very much for being here. Luca is here responsible for Invest Hong Kong, and we've already had discussions about now taking consensus into Hong Kong. I previously had discussions with Singapore government, and I've got great support from Australia, and of course Australia and New Zealand. But the great thing about this is these are all centres of excellence. We're identifying the most innovative, locally designed and developed technology. We do that around the world, and it means we can actually collaborate. We can actually talk to and collaborate with the Scandinavian companies, develop new technologies on a global platform. And most importantly as well, it also lends itself to licensing. So we can represent the winners of the other countries into Australia, and of course vice versa around the world. And now we're developing that model at the moment. So huge opportunities as we go forward. This is within the 9-month to 12-month time frame, and I envisage that probably in the 12 months after that, we'll be in another 5 countries after that as well. The awards we're taking are the Consensus Software Awards, the Consensus Green Tech Awards, and the Consensus Innovation Awards. Those 3 main programs worldwide. So thank you very much indeed for that. Just gives you a little hint as to why we've been so successful, where we're going, and please now enjoy the main course. So the awards tonight, I've put up there. We've got winners of 4 highly commended, the 4 on the left, plus the 4 presentations happening later on. So we'll actually do a presentation on that shortly. If you look at the left-hand side, those 4, the number have varied over the years. I say this is where we've had over 450 evaluations. And across the IT Professional Awards, Consensus IT Writers Awards, over 600 assessments. And then Raj is going to give us a talk about the Data Innovation Awards that we're setting up. Now the judging was done recently. As I said, I put this whole thing together in about 2.5 weeks. And it was great that University of New South Wales allowed us to use their facility at the School of Computer Science and Engineering. Unfortunately, Selena, who hosted this, couldn't be here tonight. We got some photographs taken there on the night. Thanks to our judges on that occasion. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other than I haven't seen Nick here tonight, so I think all the other 5 out of the 6 are here on that judging panel tonight. And yes, except for Selena, as I said, she can't make it tonight. So all of those except for 1 judge is here tonight. So as we've already said, thank you very much to our judges. And what I'd like to do now is invite Janine to say a few words on behalf of the judges.
Thanks, Julian. Hello, everyone. Honourable member and esteemed guests. And just after you were presenting there, Julian, I was thinking we should ask for a pay rise as judges if we're so good at it. We are volunteers, of course. It's been a wonderful journey. I think I've been a judge on the awards for about 6 years, and it's been fantastic. I just thought I'd go briefly again over the way that we assess. So as Julian said, we assess on innovation, just really how innovative is this thing? How new is it? What does it change? Excuse me. The next piece is the potential. What size is the market, and is it scalable, and how scalable? And then third is the performance. Clearly defined path to market, and that includes distribution or manufacturing or whatever it is that's required. So just using those 3 measures, we're able to have some of the most rigorous discussions. So just as an example, on my group this year, so we had, we have a process where we allow everybody to make their own personal assessment first before we have a strong discussion. And I think this year we had some very strong discussions about who deserved an award and the reasoning behind it. And probably more difficult is when you don't give an award and you actually have to think about what kind of feedback can we give that's really valuable to that company to put them in a position to actually either win an award in the future, or more importantly, to actually succeed in the marketplace. But it's really key to us. And some of the things that, I've talked to a couple of people to see what is it about being a judge that you really love. And some of it is around seeing that pathway, excuse me, being able to observe the pathway from ingenuity to innovation, but also beyond that to entrepreneurship. So you have to have the idea, you have to be able to make it into something, and you have to be able to actually get it to market and be entrepreneurial. So it's a huge challenge. The other thing I love is actually working with the other judges and seeing their decision-making processes and realising, how limited we are in our own brains and our own processes with our own biases, etc. It's just a fascinating experience to understand how other people are thinking, the kind of questions they ask of the applicants, and so on. And running a tech startup myself, what is really important to me is seeing what's covered, but also what's missing. What are the bits that are missing that are actually not really covered well, and how does that work for me in my business? Which bits am I missing? And as I said, we actually had, at one point, we had a sort of tied decision, and spending that time to actually discuss with everybody what were the reasons behind their decision making and seeing if anybody were ready to move was really valuable. Just to say again, the process is extremely rigorous. Thank you to Julian and his team. I just want to wish all the applicants all the very best in the future, those who are getting awards now and those who will be suited to getting awards in the future. So thank you, everyone.
So what we'd like to do is to invite all of the judges, consensus judges, onto the stage to have a group photograph. So all the judges, past and present, please come up. There's quite a number of you in the room. Which is why we've got such a long stage. Yeah. We do have the pleasure of inviting a couple of previous winners to the stage. First one is Ken Richards of Leaf Resources. Please come on up. Is he not in the room? I know he's here. He spoke earlier on. Maybe he's popped out. Well, Clive, would you like to go first? So I'd like to invite Clive Summerfield. Clive worldwide is considered to be one of the leading speech recognition and authentication pioneers. And he was a winner of a Consensus Award back in 2001 and also 2014. But I'll let him share you that story with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julian, and no, it's great to be here this evening to share this time and also share the time with the upcoming winners, whoever they may be. But just a little bit of background to where we come from and what we do. I mean, I'm the founder and currently the CEO of Araya Systems, and we're the producers of Armorvox, which is the world's most advanced core voice biometric system. So like your fingerprint, your voice is unique. That's about 3 times more unique than your fingerprint. And Armorvox is used worldwide to authenticate the identity of people accessing government services, accessing banking services and so on. In fact, myself and my colleague Paul McGee were off to the UK week after next to, we've been invited to present to one of the major banks in the UK that actually has more customers than Australia has population, possibly to win a deal to provide the voice biometric technology that will authenticate their customers. So we have very humble beginnings. I mean, we started life, this particular round of technology, we started life sitting in an office at Canberra University thinking about, well, what is the next big wave of identity authentication? And when you're a startup, and you must have rocks in your head if you actually want to do a startup, because everything is against you. You've got just an idea, you've got no money, you've got no technology, what do you do next? And one of the keys to our growth and our development and our international recognition as a viable and a credible supplier of what is a very complex core technology is the consensus awards. So part of our strategy was going after awards that would actually give us that international recognition, that recognition that we can actually put in our proposals to actually say that we do have a technology that actually is being judged by an internationally recognised jury of people. They've understood our technology, they've understood the impact our technology can actually have on industries and worldwide, and they also understand our path to market, how we actually get our technology from our office in Sydney to places around the world. And today our technology is used by the New Zealand government. Paul, we're confident to say that Armavox, our core voice biometric system, is at the heart of the world's largest government services identity management system for the New Zealand government, where we actually have half the population of New Zealand involved in the system. It's used by the Canadian government. We're being considered now by the UK government for use in their services. And so around the world, we're now becoming recognised, and in part due to our consensus awards. So thank you very much, Julian, for the opportunity to present Armavox and our technology, and thank you again for considering our technology and our product. Thank you very much.
So I'd now like to introduce Ken Richards, who won one of our Green Tech Awards, I think it's 2014. So please welcome Ken from Leaf Resources.
Thanks, Julian. So it's a fairly consistent theme that's going here. I have a presentation I call Negotiating the Chasm of Death. And the literature likes to talk about the valley of death, and that's the turning of a technology into a business. And by business, we mean something with those wonderful things called cash flows. And as was just said by Clive, it's a tough task taking a technology through a business. But Valley paints this picture of an idyllic little stream, lovely trees and flowers, and it's just not the right picture. This is the chasm of death. This is a rocky outcrop. This is a torrent of water, and then when you get through that, you've got to climb the ragged cliff face to the top. And Julian put some numbers up earlier, and there's all different numbers, and numbers are wonderful things. But basically, everyone gets this wrong. 90% of startups fail, and the VCs get it as wrong as anybody else. And they're meant to be the big boys in the room that have the expertise. So Julian's numbers are just absolutely stunning compared to the VC average, which my sources say 75% of all VC investments fail. So to have 89% success is just stunning. So when you talk to the VC guys about why they are successful, inverted commas, they talk about a couple of things. They talk about three things. They talk about the people, they talk about this disruptive technology, and they talk about validation. And many of the VCs talk about the people as being the most important thing, and in this room, we know that they are. When things go wrong, when, excuse my French, the shit hits the fan, the tough people have to get up and stay there. They have to be adaptive, they have to be flexible, they have to make it happen, they have to do all the hard bits. And so the team is very important. Now in terms of disruptive technology, I'd just like to talk about our technology. We have a technology that breaks down plant biomass into its component parts. We then turn that into industrial sugars that feed this wonderful new world of biology, which takes those sugars as a feedstocks and turns them into renewable chemicals to replace petroleum-based chemicals. So we use a waste reagent from the biodiesel manufacturing glycerol. We use waste agricultural biomass, and from those two waste sources we can create petroleum replacing chemicals that are in everyday use, that are billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of market opportunities, because virtually every chemical made by petroleum can be made by biomass. And if you think about it, petroleum started off as biomass, so the carbon chemistry is consistent. It's just a little bit of time and pressure in nature. And so the United States Academy of Sciences has said that in the next 50 years, the industrialisation of biology will be as powerful for economic growth as semiconductors in the last 50 years. So that's a massive statement. They're talking about the cell being the new factory, biology being the way to make things happen. Our breakthrough, though, isn't the fact that we're wonderful and green, and we did win the Green Tech Award, but our breakthrough is that we can do this at a quarter of the cost of everybody else. And so when your feedstock is 50% of the cost of the end product and you're producing that at $50 a tonne compared to everybody else at over $200 a tonne, you have a disruptive breakthrough in a market that is massive. And we're the tip of the iceberg. You've got to start with the biomass and break it down to go out to all those products. So the third phase of what can help you through the chasm of death is validation. And again, there's a constant theme tonight. Validation is so massively important. You need it on a technical level, and that's what you do with people in the United States and Europe, etc., to get your validation, so it's got international. But you also need it on a recognition level. And we started, our first award we entered was the Consensus Award back in 2014. And you know, it had a couple of benefits for us. I mean, it was a way of learning and honing your story in a presentation model, and then getting really good feedback from the judges as to how that went. It was a way of getting recognition, and because we won, we got some press and all that was good. But it was also a way of catapulting ourselves into other awards around the world, and we've now been nominated as finalists in 3 international awards. So this awards strategy that Clive talked about is a really sensible strategy, because it does not do you any harm to try out the fact that you have won these awards as you go forward. And the whole process was very, very useful in helping you refine what you needed to do going forward. So look, Leaf Resources is at a very interesting point. We have 3 potential projects around the world, one in the US, one in Europe, and one in Asia. Unfortunately, at this stage, Australia probably isn't so much on the radar for a number of reasons, but we're about to commercialise this technology. It has been a massively difficult path. We've been a listed company, which creates its own positives and negatives, but without recognition of the Consensus Award to kick us off in 2014, I'm pretty sure we wouldn't have got the knowledge of the market and the help of the market that we needed. And so to Julian, the Consensus Awards, the track record that these guys have is just nothing short of outstanding. So well done to Consensus, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed, Ken. And you've just heard from just 2 of many, many, many winners over the years. We're looking to do a showcase next year and actually bring all of the winners together. So that's being planned at the moment. We're looking at probably April, May timeframe for next year. And based upon the numbers, we reckon that we probably have at least 100 different companies across the awards programs represented. So we're a big showcase to the public, to government, to industry, really profiling how good Australian companies are in terms of innovation, which is fantastic. What I'd like to do now is introduce Raj Dalal, a good friend of mine, who I'm working with now to set up yet another awards program, specifically focused in the data analytics space. So please welcome Raj Dalal to the stage.
Thanks very much, Julian. I wasn't actually talking, when you were talking about the past winners, I actually realised I actually worked for a company that was a past winner, BoxCentric 2007. We actually did some innovative IT security work using, which is now big data analytics type work. And we actually raised more than 8 figures, moved headquarters to Singapore, and got customers all around the world. And I was the sort of head of worldwide marketing then. And I remember using the awards when we were pitching for business. When you're a small company, you need credibility, and I do remember using the awards, to increase your credibility. But look, that's not the reason I'm here today. We're talking with with Julian how we could work together for a little while. I run a company that focuses on how you can use data to solve a lot of industry problems, and our customers include all the way from hedge funds to startups. And what we believe this is an opportunity to take data that's being generated by every click you make, every swipe you make on your phone, all the way to every post you make. And this data being generated provides an enormous opportunity to change the way business is being done. And we believe there is $1 trillion opportunity to optimize how industries work, how customer service is done. And what we want to do is recognize the leaders in this space who are taking this technology and producing business value. So I'd like to launch the Big Insights Data Innovation Award, which we're running in conjunction with Consensus, and they're managing the award. It's a global program, and we're really looking for two types of companies. Companies that are using either data analytics, IoT to solve industry problems, using it to produce extreme customer insights and customer experiences, as well as startups in this space. So we're not looking for large companies that are using this, but more for application of the technology. So I'm delighted to be working with Julian on a global initiative where we'll be announcing the awards later in the year in Sydney and bring some of the innovators to Sydney. So thanks again for the opportunity, and if there's anyone that would like to join us, either as a judge or working on some technology you think that may be appropriate, would love to hear from you. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
We're just about to have the main course, but I'll hold up here one of the awards that will be given out in the 4 main categories after we've had the main course. We designed this way back in 2000, and it's basically exactly the same as it was then, but we've just changed the colours for the different programs, and everyone likes it because it's rolling, it's moving, it's actually going up the slope. So I was quite happy with the design on that. I'll be very upfront and say there's nothing wrong with self-promotion. Thank you everybody that's congratulated Consensus this evening on what we've achieved over the years and continue to do. However, you might have noticed out in the foyer, and there's what's one over here as well? The banner. No, sorry, at the back. On Waterline Challenge, and I mentioned it briefly when I first spoke this evening. Waterline Challenge will actually challenge the whole of Australia. This was actually taken out of newspapers just last week, and you can see there in the picture the launch. So we had Craig Laundy, who's the Assistant Minister for Multicultural Affairs. Gary Alla was there, Lane Bixley was there, and we all cut the cake for Waterline Challenge. This will actually challenge the whole of Australia in one weekend, 48 hours, to either walk, to run, to cycle, canoe, the whole of Australia's coast. And I encourage you all to participate.
It's gonna take a revolution, and it won't take a whole lot of time.
Well, a man on a mission to raise $20 million for charity is walking 140 kilometres from Brisbane to Noosa.
Step outside together, see what we can find, and we'll go on.
I was born in Hanhill, Thames in the UK. I had a bit of a setback as a young kid. I was diagnosed with bone cancer at 1.5, and then that reoccurred when I was 6 in my left shoulder blade and my right shoulder blade when I was 10, but managed to cope with all of that, and was a very active teenager. I played rugby a lot and was also a rower as well.
Together we can make that better change today.
Yeah, I have a passion for charity. It's on my basis of putting back. So I've walked the whole of the New South Wales coast by the water's edge all the way. First person to have done that. So my feet are wet most of the time, walking along through the beaches and around the headlands. And I've raised over $40,000 for different charities just doing that.
Water constantly in motion, running through and around the whole of this great land, and it flows on.
The Waterline Challenge, which will be by far the biggest event Australia has ever seen, will happen in September 2016. And what we're doing is we're challenging the whole of Australia to simultaneously either walk, run, cycle, canoe, rowboats, sailboats, swim, windsurf, whatever they wish to do, the whole of Australia's coast in 48 hours, including all the rivers, so anywhere where there's water, all the lakes and all the islands. So we know already we'll have well over 100,000 people, and we know as a result that we'll raise well over $20 million, which will go to 25 different charities.
It started here on the waterline in the Cedar of Reed and is now spread Australia-wide, and I wanted to challenge you today to get involved.
It's a great initiative to help people get out and exercise more. You can cycle, you can swim, you can paddle, you can run, you can do pretty much anything on the waterline this September, all for a good cause.
Organising the circumnavigation of Australia is an epic undertaking. I'm delighted that Julian has been able to get thousands of people to support this initiative and congratulate him in advance for the large sums which will surely be raised for many worthy charities across Australia. This wonderful marriage of our love of sport and our beautiful country will lead to an excellent event.
Together we can make that better change today.
To get involved, visit waterlinechallenge.org.
Thank you very much. In the audience, and please put your hands up. There's quite a few people involved in Waterline Challenge. All those involved in Waterline Challenge? Look at them, fantastic. So, a lot of you are already involved. The more people we get involved, the better. Special thanks as well that you saw Bronwyn Cooper give a talk there, and Bronwyn's on the table number 3 down here. So she's one of our first sponsors on board. So congratulations. So please enjoy your main course, and we look forward then to the presentation of the awards. Thank you very much.